As a result of his mother's decision to expel Yandy from his house, Mendeecees is full of rage. In the realm of reality television, where personal tragedies and family tensions are frequently exposed for public consumption, there are not many stories that have captivated the interest of viewers quite like the one between Mendeecees Harris, his mother Judy Harris, and his wife Yandy Smith. An important turning point in their life occurred when Mendeecees discovered that his mother had expelled his wife, Yandy, from their home. This revelation caused a great deal of friction between the two of them. As a result of this episode, which sparked intense debates and emotions, the intricacies of family dynamics, loyalty, respect, and the boundaries that exist within relationships were brought to light. It also demonstrated how challenging it can be to balance the priorities of being a mother and being a spouse, both of which play significant roles in an individual's life. What happens? A house that is divided. The VH1 reality show Love and Hip Hop, New York, is largely responsible for Mendeecees Harris's rise to prominence. Harris is a well-known reality TV celebrity and a former rapper alike. Through the entirety of the series, his connections with his family, particularly with his mother and his wife, have consistently served as the primary focus. Mendeecees' marriage to Yandy Smith, who is also a well-known person in the entertainment sector, has been put to the test on several times. Yandy Smith is also a famous figure in the entertainment world. Beginning with Mendeecees' legal concerns and continuing through the ups and downs of marriage, the pair has been through a variety of difficulties. On the other hand, there was one matter that stood out, and it was this issue that would eventually lead to Mendeecees having a disagreement with his mother. It was the tense connection that existed between Judy Harris, Mendeecees' mother, and Yan. There is a character named Judy Harris, who is Mendeecees' mother. She is a character who has frequently shown her strong beliefs and protective tendencies when it comes to her son. It is not uncommon for moms to have difficulty accepting changes in their child's life, particularly when those changes involve a new romantic partner. This is a phenomenon that is frequent in many different types of family dynamics. When it came to this particular scenario, Judy's unwillingness to embrace Yandy in her entirety was the source of tremendous conflict between her and the couple. Her comments about Yandy, which frequently bordered on dismissiveness, were not being unnoticed, and as time went on, the fissures in the connection that Judy and Yandy shared became more obvious. Yandy, on the other hand, has never lost her ability to maintain a diplomatic and collected demeanor, even in the face of the subtle disdain and personal attacks that she has received from her mother-in-law. By virtue of the fact that she was a prosperous businesswoman and the mother of Mendeecees' children, Yandy frequently found herself in the center of the drama, attempting to preserve peace and preserve the integrity of the family. The mounting hostility that Judy was harboring, on the other hand, reached a boiling point when Judy performed a dramatic step that finally resulted in Mendeecees' disappointment. The occurrence: being expelled from the Dome House. Judy, who was feeling frustrated and possibly out of line, decided to take matters into her own hands and kick Yandy out of their home. This was the beginning of the incident that would affect the path of the dynamics within the family. It was stunning, not only because of the extreme action that was taken, but also because it signified a deep gap in the family, a rift that had been building for some time. This incident was upsetting for both of these reasons. The decision that Judy made was influenced by a variety of factors. Judy had made it very apparent throughout the course of the years that she did not find Yandy to be entirely satisfactory. There were instances when she said that she believed Yandy was not the right person for her kid, and maybe even more concerning was the fact that there were times when she hinted that Yandy did not provide Mendeecees with the full support that she considered she should have. Judy's profound bond to her son, in conjunction with her persistent worries regarding Yandy's place in his life, was the driving force behind this momentous choice. In Yandy's case, the circumstance was not only distressing, but also perplexing. It was then that she found herself in the position of attempting to establish a family with Mendeecees, while simultaneously pursuing her job and coping with her own personal issues. The idea that she was being kicked out of their home by Mendeecees' mother, a woman with whom she had hoped to form a closer relationship, felt like a betrayal to her. This was especially true when taking into consideration the challenges that Mendeecees had encountered throughout his life. Yandy had been nothing but helpful. In spite of this, she was asked to leave in the blink of an eye only. As a result of the rapid dissemination of information regarding this episode, both inside the family and to the general public, Mendeecees found himself caught by surprise. Both his relationship with his mother and his marriage to Yandy were crucial to him, but his mother's bond was always the most important. Now, Mendeecees was put in the position of having to wrestle with a problem that many men who have difficult family relationships can identify with: the conflict between loyalty to a mother and loyalty to a spouse. The consequences: the anger of Mendeecees. When Mendeecees found out that his mother had expelled Yandy from their house, his reaction was one of wrath and disbelief. He took the news very seriously. His first reaction was a mixture of confusion and frustration the moment he heard the news. In light of the fact that he had always been the one to act as a mediator between his family and his wife, he was unable to comprehend why his mother would take such a significant move without first contacting him. When Mendeecees thought about it, he felt as though the boundaries he had established in his relationship with Yandy had been crossed. The anger that Mendeecees felt toward his mother was not specifically directed toward the act itself, rather, it was directed toward the manner in which it undercut his authority as a husband and father. In his mind, he had put in a lot of effort to build a life with Yandy, and now it appeared like his mother was attempting to get in the way of that. In his life, he found himself caught between two powerful women, both of whom he loved and cared for dearly. He was unable to choose between them. However, he was obliged to take a tough attitude in order to deal with this problem. After that, Mendeecees and Judy engaged in a dispute that was fraught with significant emotional intensity. He conveyed his dissatisfaction and irritation, not just with the action itself, but also with the manner in which his mother had gone beyond the bounds of acceptable behavior. During their conversation, he brought to her attention the fact that Yandy was his wife, and as such, she should be treated with the respect and decency that every spouse is entitled to. In addition, the concept that Judy's actions were not only damaging to Yandy, but also caused unnecessary friction within their family, was another factor that contributed to his resentment during that time. Mendeecees experienced a significant turning point at this particular moment. The minor arguments that had been going on between his mother and his wife were no longer all that mattered. It was about creating boundaries in his connections, and it was obvious that this would be a test for his relationship with his mother. It was about establishing boundaries in his relationships. Whether he would continue to give her the power to dictate the conditions of his marriage, or whether he would take a stand for Yandy and the life that they had created together, remains to be seen. In the middle of the conflict is the mother versus the wife. At its core, this drama revolved around an age-old problem that many people have when attempting to balance the demands of their personal relationships with their commitments to their families: the tension that exists between a mother and her wife. This particular dynamic can be particularly tough for males, who frequently find themselves split between two tremendous forces in their lives. This can be especially challenging for men. In this particular scenario, Mendeecees was put in the position of having to make a decision between the lady who had given him life and the woman with whom he had chosen to construct his future. Additionally, the circumstance brought to light the complicated nature of loyalty to one's family. As Mendeecees' mother, Judy had been an essential component of his life for a significantly longer period of time than Yandy had been. In many societies, mothers are considered to be the major caregivers and emotional anchors for their children. It can be challenging for mothers to relinquish this position, particularly when their sons begin relationships with other women. The acts that Judy took may have been motivated by her wish to shield her son from what she interpreted to be the possibility of being harmed or betrayed, despite the fact that the techniques that she employed were not appropriate. The situation that Yandy found herself in, on the other hand, was one of hurt and frustration. As the wife of Mendeecees, she had the expectation that his family, particularly his mother, would treat her with a certain degree of respect. She saw the choice to kick her out as a challenge to her own sense of self-worth, in addition to being a reflection of Judy's dislike of her and her actions. However, despite the fact that Yandy was doing everything in her power to establish a life with Mendeecees and his children, she was repeatedly thwarted by the measures undertaken by his mother. Despite the fact that this circumstance is distinct to their family dynamic, it is reflective of the challenges that many people confront when their in-laws do not embrace them or question their position within the family. Mendeecees' resolution. The resolution: take a stand. Mendeecees was ultimately forced to make a decision that was not easy to make. Following the heated argument he had with his mother, he came to the realization that his wife and their family should be his first goal to fulfill. He was aware that his marriage was the cornerstone of his future, despite the fact that he had a deep and abiding affection for his mother. In the end, Mendeecees made the decision to take a tough stance in support of Yandy. He informed his mother that her behavior was not acceptable and that she needed to respect his responsibilities as a husband and parent. Mendeecees and Judy were able to work through their problems over the course of time, which resulted in the gradual resolution of the conflict that had been going on. Judy went through a time of introspection as a result of Mendeecees' ultimatum, which made it very obvious that he would not permit his mother's activities to undermine the stability of his marriage. Even though the situation was distressing for all of the individuals involved, it was necessary for them to acknowledge the significance of mutual respect in relationships, whether it be between a mother and her kid or between a husband and his wife. Final thoughts. A defining moment in the lives of this reality TV family occurred when Mendeecees became enraged with his mother after she expelled Yandy from their house. This event marked a turning point in the family's collective history. It shed light on the emotional intricacies of family dynamics, the difficulties of maintaining a balance across relationships, and the significance of being unwavering in one's commitment to doing what one feels to be right. At the end of the day, Mendeecees was able to express his authority as a husband, and as a result of this dispute, he and Yandy became stronger as a pair. In spite of the fact that Mendeecees and his mother had a tough time repairing their connection, the experience ultimately resulted in a more profound comprehension of the significance of limits and respect in the context of familial relationships.